Thanks very much, Blake Berman. President Obama, meanwhile, and Vladimir Putin trading jabs at the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. They disagreed over the role of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in the fight against terror.
And so Assad and his allies can't simply pacify the broad majority of a population who've been brutalized by chemical weapons and indiscriminate bombing. Yes, realism dictates that compromise will be required to end the fighting and ultimately stamp out ISIL. But realism also requires a managed transition away from Assad and to a new leader, and an inclusive government that recognizes there must be an end to this chaos so that the Syrian people can begin to rebuild.
We think it is an enormous mistake to refuse to cooperate with the Syrian government and its armed forces who are violently fighting terrorism face to face.
Vladimir Putin adding that Russia and the U.S. could find a way to work together on Syria despite deep differences over the country's leadership. Digging deeper into the exchange, I want to bring in Viollis Group CEO and behavioral analyst Paul Viollis. Paul, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Mary. Thank you.
What did you read from the exchange between Putin and Obama first?
There's such a gross disparity in balance between the both of them. Putin sits there and is in complete control. And unfortunately, the guy that we have sitting in the Oval is way out of his league. And I hate to say that, but it's so blatant, it's ridiculous.
It feels that way because when they're together, Putin's either laughing at him or not listening, or, I mean, it just, the body language.
The body language is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like the kid who's about to get beat up by the schoolyard bully.
Right.
You know, Putin's sitting there, he's staring him straight in the face, he's asking him questions, he's very deliberate, he knows exactly what he's saying, and we're on the defense. And this is really uncomfortable. I have to tell you, it's really uncomfortable to watch.
Can they work together in terms of Syria? I mean, these are really big differences.
Marie, you're talking about a guy who used to run the KGB. Right? Espionage between the United States and Russia is nothing new. We've been doing it for years. But this guy's a pro. He's not going to be legitimate when he comes and talks to us. He's absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's got his agenda, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
So what is the motivation, Dagen? I mean, what are you thinking here? That Putin is putting more tanks on the ground in Syria?
Right. No, Russia and Iran and Syria and now Iraq, remember, though they have brought Iraq in terms of intelligence, they don't have to work with the United States. This is what, to paraphrase what the Wall Street Journal says today on its op-ed page, this is what happens when you practice a policy of retreat, leaving Iraq, wanting to pull troops out of Afghanistan, acting like ISIS was not a threat until it was a threat that we could not fight and, frankly, chose not to fight. This is exactly what happens, and the danger is it's too late for us to do anything, at least until someone else is the president.
Todd.
Well, isn't that when you become weak? I mean, he's shown that the entire time, that he's a weak leader going forward, and he is way out of his league. And I don't know why you should be embarrassed to say that he's out of his league, because he is dramatically out of his league with this guy. This guy would chew him up and spit him out.
Yeah,
we are weak. I mean, I think that's a problem, and I have thought all along that we should go after them and take care of our business first and forget about everybody.
It does feel, though, that, you know, a couple of years ago when he whispered to Medvedev, look, I'll have more leverage after the election. I mean, it just feels like he was a believer and wanted to be a friend to Putin and Medvedev, and they're laughing at him. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, Putin, you know, he needs to do this because oil prices are down.
That's right.
And his economy
which we've been talking about on this show, right?
So not our interests, and he needs to show that he's the toughest guy on the block.
You know, as Gary Kasparov told us, he trades on fear. Putin does. So, you know, people are fearful in Russia. The economy has plummeted. So what is he going to do other than just stay tough guyish?
All he has to do right now is stay the course. I mean, if you look at the multitude of areas that he's playing us, we haven't even talked about the fact that he's launched a very successful cyber war campaign on us that we're not even close to combating. And I don't know how the president's going to address that part. I have no idea.
And that didn't come up.
No, wonder why.
Yeah.
I will add, though, I thought the president's speech yesterday at the UN, he sounded tougher, and he sounded, frankly, irritated with what's going on with Russia. So at least, I mean, he needs to step up the rhetoric, particularly when you're dealing with ex-KGB like Putin.
Yeah. But he needs to step up the muscle. He needs to do something to protect the fabric of the American brand, and he clearly is not. And that's all there is.
Will he step it up, though?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has the mettle to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Paul, good to have you on the show today.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Paul Viollis there joining us. Another